Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
The mists billow and ebb. The dreamer lingers upon the threshold of the world that is no world. Already its colors have grown muted and drab. Part of her fades alongside the price of duty, the price of faith. But it no longer matters. The decision is made. There can never be rest for one such as she. If this is to be her last battlefield, then the dreamer will face it unflinching. With a final whispered prayer, the dreamer hurls herself from the void and into the crucible of war.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Stephen Ford, and Mike Haspel. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog.
What's going on, everybody? Robbie B's voice right there was too killer. I loved it. I couldn't. I'm serious, but I couldn't take it serious.
This is the smooth jazz hour.
You have been kidnapped. I
would like to bring to you some bongo drums tonight.
Haspel said duty.
Hey, don't put this on Haspel.
I just want to go back. I wish this was live and I could rewind it, because I would just put myself on mute and go back and listen to Rob do the intro another 5 times.
But that was legit, though. He was like, "This is NPR," and
the time is 11:01.
Yeah, you sound like the guy who comes on after Robin Williams in Good Morning Vietnam.
I guess I kind of have a radio voice. I mean, I definitely have a face for radio.
He's got so much bass.
I used to call my buddy, and one time, like, his wife got on the phone, and she was like, yeah, I could hear her. She had her hand over the phone, but she didn't have it over the phone. And she was like, "Come over here. This is the guy I was telling you about. I want you to hear his voice." And I was like, "What is she talking about?" And then she comes back on the phone and she's like, "Tom's not here." And I'm like,
"You're like, word, my name's Robbie B."
Yeah. And I was just like talking, and it didn't dawn on me at the time that that's how I would talk to my friends, like, wives or whatever. Like, I would just
talk. Robbie B, and you're the 9th caller.
Hello and welcome to Movie Phone.
Yeah.
No.
He goes to his NPR voice whenever the phone rings. They answer and they're like, "Hello," and he's like, "Oh, may I ask who's speaking?"
Yes,
that's exactly what it is. Hey, I want to speak to his ass too. He owes me some money. If you find him, you call me.
Yep.
So yeah, it all started making sense. I have a stupid face, so I have to resort to radio, I guess.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Fucking, I can't stand looking at your face, so I always just change the browser window and just listen to you.
That was an actual comment. Did you read that one?
Damn.
Somebody said that.
I actually made that up. Someone actually said that for me.
Yeah, somebody said that on Long War recently.
Oh God!
I don't know. That might be the single coldest thing I've ever heard somebody say. Like, I know we laugh and joke and we say some quotes from movies, but like, this dude is taking it too far. Like, I just hate your face. Like, dude, anything to change your opinion about me? Can you change your face? Like, this dude literally is like,
this part of your face, if you just fucking change it.
Good job and all and everything, but I'm gonna have to punch your face.
I'm gonna have to punch it.
But great job setting all this together. But yeah,
I've gotten the opposite comment before, where they're like, a great video, I just mute it.
I just mute it.
So they watch it, but they won't listen. Because they like, I hate it.
Oh, because you have a stupid voice and I have a stupid face.
Yep.
See, that makes sense. So much sense. So yeah, welcome to the internet. Population, stupid faces.
Yep.
That might be the coldest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, I really like your videos.
For David, my mom didn't know how mean people were, and they were looking at some of my videos, and they were like, "This guy was like, it's kind of the same thing." When you say to someone like, "Your face, I just fucking can't stand it," you're like, "What? That's like my face is my personal face.
This is the only one I have.
I don't have a choice in this matter."
Like, and I was telling my mom and David about it, and David's like, "Yeah, I saw this comment on your channel. This guy was like, yo, I fucking can't stand your voice. It's fucking obnoxious, annoying. Literally, I fucking would never be able to be in the same room as you, blah, 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 going off." And then my mom and David were like, "That's like the most fucked up thing. That's like, what if that's a disability? I mean, like, what if it's just like, I can't even be in the same room as you when you talk. You're so fucking annoying." Like,
straight Kaiser Sose.
Would you say that to somebody in real life? If you were standing in the line at Disney World and there's this guy just talking to his girlfriend and it was a nerve-wracking voice, would you just walk up to that guy and say, "Can you fucking stop talking? I can't stand you."
Can't stand you.
Or would you just adapt to the social climate and just ignore him?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, I'm not doing the first.
What the fuck is the internet?
Yeah.
Place where people come together and bitch about shit.
And share pornography.
Yes.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Mainly bitch about movies on moviepoopshoot.com.
On moviepoopshoot.com. It's the best meme in the history of ever.
Yep. Solid. It's actually second place to your Tyrone Bigum's 5 o'clock free crack giveaway.
I never realized that it looks like there's a Long War Chaos Star on the flyer, but it's a starburst.
I know. Every time I see it, I'm like, did you just CGI the fucking Long War logo?
Oh my gosh, that was that good. Would have been it would have been
if you guys don't know what we're talking about, we're obviously talking about Twitch now. So we transformed it from hating people for their own physical disabilities and their own auditorial shortcomings, and now we've taken a full circle to Twitch, which is our live network. We have the Long War Live. Literally, you guys didn't know. Now Mike Haspel, the legendary author of Graveyard Shift, he's on there. He's doing Thursday Sanctic Reach variety streaming.
Yeah. Sanctus Reach. Yeah.
Sanctus Reach. Is that not what I said? I said, what did I say? Rectum?
Sanctic, I think.
Yeah, scrotum reach. Is what you said.
Sanctorum Reach.
Sanctus Reach. It's dropping tomorrow. It is from Slytherin. That's not the Harry Potter house.
I'm pretty sure it is the Harry Potter house.
Yeah, actually. I think it's Harry Potter.
I mean, I don't want to call you stupid right now, but you sound stupid.
You have a stupid face. Sorry.
Yeah, no, come to find out, Haspel, you don't have a stupid face. You're not acting so.
I'm the Gryffindor in this chat, so it's like I'm pretty sure it's Slytherin. But
so I wanted to say, and I'm sorry, Haspel, I don't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to hit on something that you guys talked about last week because I missed, last week's show. I had some personal some ailments in my body, and
just say you had a stupid face. It's okay.
That's it. I got a stupid back. But so I did want to touch on something. I wanted to talk about the Dark Eldar Quibbage game. Like, obviously, and like I don't understand like why you guys didn't immediately talk about rule number 1 is like if you get hit with the ball, you lose your face.
Oh, you think that's how it is in the game?
That's literally how it is. Like, just look at the rule. Like, it's literally in the game. Like, what happens? You lose your face, and the other person wears your face. Yeah,
I've been involved in a skin wearing face game.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to wear your skin, Kenny.
I know. I've heard it. That's not even a lie, guys. We've heard this.
We have actually heard, dude. You guys are so awesome. I love that tattoo. Can I have it?
Yeah.
But the tattoo that's on my arm, like, yeah, you can get your own. No. I don't want to. It would hurt if I got tattooed on my arm. I just want the tattoo that's on your arm. Dog, do you understand the
skin? Or
yeah, do you understand the? Do you understand the only way that you get this tattoo is if I physically cut my skin and peel it off and give it to you? He's like, yeah, that's what I want. Like, all right, absolutely.
You got Buffalo Bill calling you about your tattoo.
This has happened.
Yes.
Like in person.
In person.
People say silly things when they're drunk. Go figure.
I'll give the dude benefit of the doubt. He was twisted.
He's an animal. I wish I could drink with him tonight.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting night.
It was a great night.
I'm too hot if I'm dropped to the devil's house.
Yep. Yeah, Monkey Drive. But don't forget, on Sunday as well, Mike's going to have a Road to Adepticon on coming right after Slow Fuse Gaming. Guys, if you seriously, like I say this in all my YouTube videos now, you're fucking up if you don't go to Twitch and check out the content over there. It is the new shit. It's so much more interactive. So much more is happening on the live media. You definitely got to just check out the Facebook page, the Long War Network. Sign up. All the times are there. Everything's fucking free. Enough promoting. And transmission.
Drop the mic here.
So it's back to Slytherin.
Yeah. So it's a game like if you guys, some of us older people might remember games like Final Liberation and like Chaos Gate. It is a turn-based it is 3D,
not
but
RTS.
It is not an RTS. So it is a 3D, a non-RTS turn-based game based on GW's campaign book, Sanctus Reach, and that's supposed to drop tomorrow. So assuming that they drop it in my Steamworks and everything, I will be streaming tomorrow at 6 Pacific. And I don't know what I'm doing, so you guys can come in and watch and laugh.
Tuesday being Thursday, or tomorrow being Thursday. Right?
Thursday, yeah.
I get my days.
Oh yeah, because we're on the podcast. We're not. I'm like used to being like live now.
Yeah.
So it's like weird. And if you're not, well, then it'll be on my Twitch thing because it archives it, so you can watch it then and then make your decision if you want to pick up the game. It looks kind of fun to me if you're into turn-based stuff. This pretty cool announcement came out today. Necromunda. It's finally being turned into like a PC game, and I guess it's coming out for consoles as well. Back in the day, like everybody was playing Mornheim, I was more of a Necromunda guy. And for folks who don't know, Necromunda is a big hive city, and you play a bunch of different gangs in the hive city. About the closest I can describe it is if you've seen the movie Dread, the
newest one.
Yeah, the newest one. The guy, I can't think of his name now, of course, because we're on the air and I just spaced. But the newest Dread movie, the one with with Mama and
Urban?
The slow-mo drug with Carl Urban, that's right, playing Judge Dredd. That is pretty much Necromunda.
Yeah, that's a hive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Haspel, I think in the movie or in Dread, I think it's like 120 stories or something like that.
It's I did the math at one point when I was watching it, and I think it's like a kilometer high. And
yeah,
like
it's huge. Like
it's what is
mega
it?
block or whatever.
Tree peaches or peaches or what was the name of it?
Peach tree.
Peach trees.
Yeah, peach trees. Fucking hive city. It's like or a fucking a mega block or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shit was intense.
But yeah, because I mean, a lot of early 40K came out of the 2000 AD comics. I mean, the Land Raider comes from there. Obviously, the Adeptus Arbites, they're the judges. They come out of there. So Necromunda goes back to a lot of the roots of 40K. If my memory serves, which I'm having senior moments now, so I don't know. But I think that was almost like second edition adaptations of the rules. From 40K was like second edition 40K time frame. The box came with some baller terrain, which Gamers Haven actually still has some of the Necromunda hive terrain, and we actually use it in tournaments. It's insane.
The plastic pieces.
The plastic pieces held together with the cardboard.
Yeah, so, I still have some of those.
But this is Focus Home Interactive, and they're kind of the main kind of producer that's overseeing this. They have entered a partnership. Now, if the name sounds familiar, that's because Focus Home Interactive, along with Tyndalos Interactive, brought us Battlefleet Gothic Armada. Focus Home Interactive, along with Cyanide Studios, brought us Space Hulk Deathwing. And then Focus Home Interactive, along with Rogue Factor, brought us Mordheim, City of the Damned, which is pretty good. The Mordheim game is actually pretty good. Rogue Factor, who made the Mordheim game, are the guys who are making Necromunda. So I have pretty high hopes for this. It's a skirmish type based game, and it should be a lot of fun.
I mean, these guys obviously have done great on all the games that they paired up with before, as of late. So, I'm actually really pumped about that. Like, Necromunda was my jam. Haspel, did you ever? So I always played the Arbitite. Like I had my dogs. Like literally, you can have
cyber
dogs.
Mastiffs and everything.
Running around. Like, oh my goodness, it was my joint. Do you know what army or what faction gang that I used to hate playing against? Or what were they called? The high class people.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, and I don't.
Oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart. But literally, it was like my squad was like 7 or 8 arbiters with shields, a couple with shotguns and shock mauls, and some dogs. Literally, these guys were they were basically the Grey Knight Paladins of the game, like the high class, the high something like that. You had like 3 dudes that were like all tricked out gear, tricked out armor. They could see through cover because they had all the money to spend on this. Like it was pretty cool how they they basically showcased each one of the different kind of factions and layers, levels. You can go from scum and everything else. Great game.
Yeah, were those the Eschers?
Yes.
Yeah, Clan Escher.
Yes.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Clan Escher. That's exactly what it is. They're like the high society people. And
Yeah,
they
so
actually, I think their backstory was like they literally had so much money and everything, they did it for fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was totally it. Yeah, and if for those who don't quite get the setting of Necromunda, if you can imagine the last Judge Dredd movie mixed with the original first RoboCop movie, that's a pretty good idea of what's going on. It's a dystopia.
So we're like on a
stuff.
dawn of new robotic inventions and discoveries and augmentation and cyborgs and cyborg like augmentation, but also in a fucking super oppressed, fucking overpopulated city. Post-apocalyptia or
yeah, dystopia. You know, it ties into like Chainsaw Warrior. You know, fed into it too. It was just kind of a conglomeration of early GW stuff. You know, a lot of like heavy metal album cover.
You could probably, if you take the Stallone version of Dredd, cut out all the stuff that happened inside the city walls and keep all the stuff that happened outside the city walls. That's a good idea for what happens on the outskirts too.
Nice. Yeah, that was the only part of the Stallone Judge that was good, was what happens outside the wall.
It was actually pretty good, that part.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot of the threads or the stories for Judge Dredd and the AD.
But also like he's a judge and he takes his helmet off every chance he gets. That's the best part of the new Heat. It's Carl Urban goes the whole movie and doesn't take the helmet off once.
Not one time. It wasn't until the movie was over and I finally like stopped, didn't even pick my phone up because I enjoyed the movie that much. Like I really got behind everything with it. I even liked the fact that the chick that was with her, the new recruit, literally didn't wear hers at all because she was a psychic. You know, she was like a borderline. If she told too many people, she was going to get offed herself. You know, like. And it's just like in the Necromunda or the Dark Heresy role-playing game where it's like she has a mutation. But like luckily
what's dope about her mutation is that it's a classic class warfare. You know, they bring that into the sci-fi where poor people live near the walls and the walls is where the radiation is.
Yeah, so you die from it.
The city. So now the upper class, the government, the bureaucracy farms specialized talent from the poor people. Realistically giving them no option but to serve because they want to farm them for the talents, but they don't want to be in the poor people fallout zones close to the perimeter of the city and the walls. But you discover somebody with one of these talents, it's like you work for us now.
Yep. If you'd have had a third eye, you're dead. But guess what? Your shit is nobody can see that you're basically a mutant. You know, you're tainted by chaos or whatever, your mutant ability or your mutation. You can read people's minds. Got it.
That
dude,
seems
when she mind fucking raped that dude in the movie, I watched that and I was like, Professor X hasn't got shit on her.
Nothing.
Like what she did to that dude, like, because when you see a Professor X, like how he's like just go out there and does all these crazy amazing things, like and I love how they showed a psychic invasion, right? Like we've seen like how mentally psychers attack people. We've seen that in all these different like superhero books and everything. The creativity of the way they did it with her and put her in that world, she ruined his ass. And like he's like pissing his pants and shit. Like I was like, fuck you, man. You can't stand up to this. Like, I mean, it was on such a different fucking level, man. And Lena Headey, fucking Lena Headey was awesome as Mama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Straight gangster.
Yo, that drug, dude, what a shitty way to go, right?
Do slow-mo and then get thrown over the side.
Or somebody throw you off of a fucking kilometer high fucking skyscraper, but put you on slow-mo first, so you're falling to your death for like literally 2 hours mentally. And then think about the point of impact. You're hitting the ground for like minutes. Every organ in your body imploding. Like holy shit.
So brutal.
Like when I saw that scene, I was like, yep, Judge Dredd, you don't fucking play games.
You've been judged.
You've been judged, homie.
I hope they come out with that game. It's gonna be tight. But chances are I don't know. People are saying that holstered bolt pistol could be something from that, or it seems to me like it is that bit that came out today. It could.
It couldn't be, because that Necromunda thing is. I mean, I know they're bringing back specialist games. They brought back Blood Bowl, but this Necromunda thing I was talking about is strictly a PC.
Right. I'm saying, but some folks out there are saying this could be a Necromunda game. Some folks are saying it could be Cypher. Some folks are saying it could be Chaos.
Wow. Yeah.
What I get from it, CSI Robbie B, is it looks like it's part of a 3D slice. So I would imagine that it goes to a special character of sorts. But from there, it's really hard to tell still. You know what I mean? So it's like, well,
I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about. What is this?
So they did a rumor post today. GW did, where they like showed a picture, and it's obviously a bolt weapon of some kind with an ammo feed leading to it, which traditionally is, we've always only seen that from Chaos, but there's no Chaos trim on it or anything like that. You see the stock, you see the ejection port, you see the ammo feed going up into it, and then that's it. It's like cut off. It looks like a spade shovel at the end because it's part of it, like a 3D slice. So it goes into another area on a figure. So it's kind of impossible to tell what game system it goes with, what faction it is, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of people are like, it could be this, it could be that. It could be Cypher,
You hide in that for like half an hour. Like,
yeah. So it's just like, it's all crazy out there right now on that one. But what stuff we do know is that next week, and I just posted it up over on Spikey Bits, we have the new release lineup. It does not include Fate Weaver. Fate Weaver is going to be a week 3. So we got 3 weeks of at least of Tzeentch stuff coming out. And then we saw the rumors for the Fall of Cadia, which of course the Eldari, whatever.
They changed
is it Eldarin? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Eldari.
Eldari.
Yeah. No, nobody's been talking about this. I haven't seen this anywhere on any of the forums, any site, nowhere. That rune in that video is Eldrad's personal rune. It's literally
what it is. I figured it out after I heard you talk about it, because Eldrad died.
He died in the old one.
Yeah, back in 2003. Which didn't happen.
Well, he's coming back as a wraith. It's a wraith guard.
Yeah, he could die. No, he's still alive right now. Current canon, he's alive.
I got it, but that's what I think it means, because it's literally his personal rune with the infinite, with the which is the same, the Ghost Army infinity symbol on top.
Mm-hmm. And the same, all the Wraith have the same, and they even say, because what Farseers do in between battles is they hook into the infinity, the Wraithbone core in the craft world, and they slowly start to become crystal over time as they hook in and they commune with all the spirits. And
I never knew that.
Yeah. And his staff, the staff of Ulthmar or whatever it's called, that actually contains the spirit stones of all the first seers from Ulthway. So the first seer council, he literally carries it around with him everywhere he goes.
It may be a new faction of Eldar, maybe a new personal unit for the Uthway.
Yeah, you want to talk about like phone a friend, like just talk to your staff, like, yo, homie, you guys remember when this shit happened? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Haspel, what's that book you made me read recently with that fucking sword that's like that?
Of which one?
You made me read a book really recently where this guy has a sword that's like all his ancestors who had the sword before him.
Oh, the Ancestor Blade. That was Son of the Black Sword by Larry Correia. Yep.
Not to be confused with the fucking Sword of Truth series by Who Cares? That shit's weak. God, it's so bad. That's what I thought when I started reading this, because Hass was like, you got to read this. Like, I just read the fucking first 3 books of the fucking Sword of Truth series. It's the worst.
No, this is legit.
This was legit. So basically, he has that. He has a fucking sword that's like every person who held the Ancestor Blade before him's knowledge. So it's like there's no situation he's ever been in a fight that he hasn't been in already.
So
it's like
a robot.
Yo, it's intense.
So a lot of stuff going on in the front there. So we'll see Fate Weaver. We'll also see, we know for sure that Fate Weaver's coming, or at least the Lord of Change kit, the new dope Changeling model, which looks to be on a 40 mil base. So he's going to be a big boy. He's going to be a little tallsies. the crazy blue horrors, brimstone horrors, the super splits, yin yang twins from the demons. But next week, for Scherzy's going on sale in like 3 days, I guess. By the time you hear this, it's already on sale, I imagine. We've got the lineup of Tzeentch Magistar. That's that crazy looking. He almost looks like a cricket. It's like a cricket Tzeentch sorcerer with like 3 eyes from back in the day. They're re-releasing him for $15. And then we got Bird People.
Wait. Who's being re-released?
It's just like this generic looking kind of, well, not generic. He looks dope. It's like this Tzeentch sorcerer. He's got a little staff. He kind of looks like a cricket, for lack of a better term, with three arms and long bird legs. He's a $15 clan pack, so he's pretty dope.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, GW, okay, like their pricing has been on point. A $15 clan pack for like a new model with this and this, like, yo, that's great job. Like, to put that in perspective too, like the new box set of all the Saint and the other models for $80, I'm at a loss. Like, that is an unbelievable deal. Like, when we first heard about it, I was even saying, like, damn, that's a little expensive for some dudes. And then all of a sudden I realized the quality of models they are, the girth of obviously Cawl or whatever, Cawl, yeah. And the Saint and everything else. So GW's point of sale has been hitting on all cylinders here lately. Really impressed.
Yeah, no, for real. And then they got Bird Person Zangor on disc, the shaman with that little eye that we saw in the previous rumor, one of the very first rumor picture posts, and then the Bird People Squadron on disc for $35 as well, which is really weird, but we'll take it. Zangors.
So we get the Zangors on discs now.
Yeah. Yep.
So a
disc.
cavalry, so a jump pack move unit of Zangor.
Yeah, they have some sort of bow and arrow, but I think they're a combo kit. You can also make them as something called an enlightened, which has like a blade of some sort in the pictures. I'm not exactly sure what it does.
Any word if these are going to be 40K too, or are these just AOS?
Not yet, but the Zangor kit, remember, for Thousand Suns actually came with both, 40K las pistols and chainswords, as well as their other weapons, which are also a release this week for $40. I'm sure they don't have the 40K stuff inside of them though. That would just be silly. And the 40K Quidditch game comes out as well, $60 for that box set. I want to say it's like $125 in minis inside of it. It is, how do you say, a good deal if you're into Dark Eldar fly people.
Yeah, yo. Yeah. If you like wearing other people's faces, jump on.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. So pretty dope stuff there. Now, actually coming out this week is the Wave 1, which is the Thaumaturge, that crazy looking Minotaur out of Silver Tower, the Gaunt Summoner, again, another Silver Tower miniature repackaged. I think Gaunt Summoner is $25. I want to say Thaumaturge is
are these the only way you can get these as singles now?
Yeah.
Cool. So instead of buying the Silver Tower, now you can just buy some of these clips.
Yep. You just straight scoop them up. And then, of course, you've got the acolytes. Those are the human bird people with like the bird people mask. And they're actually really good in Sigmar. They shoot they have a 12-inch little like magic missile kind of thing. Every single one of them. It's like, wait, what? They're cheap as dirt and they only got a 6-up save, so they'll die in droves, but they'll sting. They're like the Wu-Tang killer bees.
I mean, they're just like regular bees. Like, you can punch a bee, it's dead.
Why would you?
It can sting you too.
They can sting you too.
The wisdom from Kenny.
I thought he was going somewhere with that. I was like, I'm totally on board, but no. So that's pretty much all the new releases until we find out more about this whole Gathering Storm Part 2 with some now featuring Eldari.
Yeah, and I will say this, without getting into spoilers, if Ahriman hands the Eldar their butt, I might have to start playing Thousand Suns. I might have to go to Chaos because I hate Eldar that much.
Well, I've always asked you, what's worse, Xenos or the Heretic?
Yeah, that's rough.
And for you, it's like, it's hard, man. It's for you.
Well, I play Necrons. I don't play Chaos. So I feel like the heretics are worse unless they're beating Eldar. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to shock people here, but it's kind of like I don't know anything about football until Green Bay is playing the Bears. And then I want Green Bay to lose.
Nice. I can relate to that with Eldar, yeah.
Well, that's all the new releases. Why don't we take a quick break and we come back, cover some of this new Bird People book and Mr. Belisarius.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
ElrixHobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elric's Hobbies. ElrixHobbies.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at dicehead.com have rewarded us all with an extra 6% discount on all dicehead.com merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
And we're back. I don't know where to start. So many options. Bird People or Belisarius?
Belisarius. Let's bang down. Let's talk about this new book that's coming out.
So I hear that some people on this particular institution here, this podcast, as you will call it, happen to like the chaos. So what would you say, Kenny, if I told you that at the start of the game, that now this obviously isn't 40K, but
I know that was going to be my follow up. It's like, this is 40K because I don't give a fuck.
But what if it was 40K? You can roll.
And that's pretty hard to paint. Age of Sigmar is awesome. It's very cool. But no, what I'm interested in here is, we talked about this a little bit before the show. This is a new book that's bringing all sorts of new things to the table. And this is a post General's Handbook book, right? And give us a little history on the General's Handbook, because that was a big deal.
Well, yeah, the General's Handbook was basically sourced from, I want to say, I don't know who it was sourced from. It was one of those groups over in England that was really, really hot into trying to balance it out, and they came out with a comprehensive point system. I'm embarrassed I don't know who they were. Yeah, but I had it on it was a podcast actually, and we even talked about it before because they did the markers, and then I totally biffed it. But
we didn't. The thing is, we weren't giving Age of Sigmar any credit, and
whoa.
We weren't.
Some of us were giving Age of Sigmar credit.
You weren't giving it no fucking credit pre-General's. When General's Handbook came out, you guys all fucking bought armies. What did you buy your?
That's not true.
When did you buy your Age of Sigmar army?
I played Age of Sigmar when it first came out. I was using my demons.
Taking your Chaos Demons for 40K and playing the AOS.
Still
not counting that. Going out and making your first purchase.
I had a full Stormcast Eternal army, like full. And then I got out of it because people weren't playing the game.
And there's a reason they weren't playing the game.
Right. I'm going to fix everything.
I'm going to go down that rabbit path with you, that rabbit hole. Until the General's Handbook came out, I thought Age of Sigmar was stupid.
They broke the cardinal rule of a relationship with gamers. Like
they put the power in gamers' hands, and that's not smart.
There's a lot of great mechanics. Don't get me wrong. I think that it's pretty smart. Pre General's Handbook, like before points, because the main thing people were latched onto was points. We need a force organization construction with points, because that's kind of been the standard. That's the relationship. That is a cardinal rule. You can't break that. They did come up with a cool alternative though, where you alternate placing units down on the table. And when someone says, I'm done, like I'm not placing any more units, you say you're done, or you can keep going. And now the rules and the parameters of the game shift to be heavily in favor of the guy who's outnumbered, right? Okay, that's pretty cool. But you know what? As cool as that is, you still broke you made the cardinal sin. Nobody wants to play. Nobody fucking wants to play it. There's no forces. How am I supposed to go to my Beats lab and get high to fucking list construction? without a fucking point system. Like that's GW forgot that 90% of what we do is that. That is how we get our enjoyment out of the game, is check out my new list, check out this new shit, my new beats, my new fresh shit. We couldn't do that. That eventually made it, no matter how you felt about the game on the table, eventually we lost interest in it because it just wasn't occupying your thoughts. You know, it wasn't something you can, and then, and then this, you don't have to take my opinion on it. Just take a look at how much money they fucking made. GW made as a company during that period.
Yeah, no, they bounced back. They definitely bounced back.
They lost tons of money projected sales on this release. Game stores fucking legit went flatline out of business. A
lot did. Like, it was the dark days. You could see it in web traffic. You could see it in game stores in general.
People who had to buy like, the premier, fucking pack of
I had to stock 2 of everything in there and literally couldn't move product.
Literally couldn't fucking pay their bills.
I mean, it was like, well, I'll use a game store here in town. He bought in on it. He bought in on the deal. And he had stuff sitting. And when General's Handbook came out, he still had all that stuff sitting there. And he was one of the few people that actually had to stop because it started selling through so quick when General's Handbook came out. So he had to wait a year. But
he was one of the lucky ones out of capital that he didn't fucking go out of business. And that's the game stores don't usually have that luxury. And so they finally, GW, starting into the new world order things, they started listening to the community more, getting more active. And they farmed this amazing document from somebody else who already loved the system and didn't want to let fantasy die, and fixed it. And this book that we're about to talk about, this the Discipline of Tzeentch, Disciples of Tzeentch, is an ode to that.
Yeah, it's really coming on strong. It was the first one independently developed post General's Handbook. So contained in this is the points cost for pitch battles. You also have the Path to Glory campaign stuff. You have several battle plans in here, so you can reenact some of the fluff and the famous Tzeentchian battles as well. But maybe more importantly is that it has the war gear, which we saw with Sylvaneth and we saw with Beastclaw Raiders. It has war gear. It has dope ass demon gifts. It has many, it's almost many 2 different sets of rules where you have stuff if you're just mortal Tzeentch, and you get stuff if you're demon Tzeentch. The same with psychic powers or spells rather. And it's almost like a self-contained book in and of itself. So, if this is the blueprint, if Sylvaneth was the new blueprint, this book going forward is the new blueprint, pretty much, that will kind of inclusively contain everything you need to get going and get up and running with the new army of the du jour, so to speak. But it's not day. But you get what I'm saying. So they did. So
break it down to us. What's the most interesting thing about this book?
What I like about it, and I think you're going to kind of dig this. Imagine if before you started a game of 40K, you could pick up 9 dice. You could roll them. Whatever you got, you put them off to the side. And at any point during your game, you could substitute one of those dice.
Oh my God. As soon as you started saying this, I knew it, because I was like, Tzeentch, just please tell me those 9 dice I roll at any point during the game, I can substitute a die roll for one of those dice.
Yep. They're called Destiny dice. And you can
Destiny fucking dice. Oh my God.
For a lot of different rolls. But GW didn't leave it wide open. They didn't leave it ambiguous. They didn't leave any room for shenanigans, so to speak.
It's kind of clear cut.
It's very clear cut, because they come in and they say, hey, we get that sometimes you're going to want to roll 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dice. Hell, you could be first or last.
Yeah, hell, son.
But what we need you to do.
Don't get it twisted. You can be first, second, third, fourth. You can even be fucking 5th place, man. Okay.
I live my life by that.
I was high.
Peyote. So if you want to roll a grip of dice, you can stack the dice deck, so to speak. You can grab that 6 out of your Destiny dice. You can grab that 5. You put it down and you say, all right, well, these are guaranteed. Now I'm going to grab the other 3 dice I need to roll for a total of 5, but I've already predetermined 2 of them. I'm going to roll these 3 dice right here. Boom, that's what you get.
Wow.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait, how did you game that? What's happening here?
So instead of you go, like say you want to roll 5 dice and you're like, well, I don't know exactly which ones I want to grab out of my destiny pool.
Oh, okay. So you've already determined your destiny pool, and you're about to roll like 12 dice to do something.
Right. You have to pull the dice from your destiny pool before you roll additional dice.
So you don't get to see the dice on the table
and then swap out.
You don't get to super game it.
Okay, I see. So no, that's still very complicated. So I can say, so I know I have 6 sixes in my hand right now, for example, because I pulled them out of my destiny pool because I had that many 6s because it's me. Obviously. And so I'm like, this is the most important combat of the game. And I have a unit of guys, for example, bloodletters, which when they roll 6s to hit, it does a mortal wound.
Yep.
So I can say, I need this fucking stupid HQ to die this turn. So it's my combat phase. I'm like, for example, obviously this is bloodletters. So if you had a unit like this, for example, you can say, I know that no matter what, I'm about to roll 10 dice. I know that 5 of them are fucking mortal wounds down.
Yep. Doesn't even matter from that point.
I mean, so I don't know if you can apply destiny dice to fucking bloodletters or not. I'm just throwing out a fucking.
No, you know where I can see something like that come into play and have an instant impact. Obviously, psychic dice. Obviously, being able to roll on a random chart where it's not so random anymore. You're like, if you roll 2d6, if you roll boxcars, you gain a 300-point unit. Like you're literally like you roll your dice and you get 2 6s in your destiny dice. Like you're like, oh, cool. I know I'm automatically going to get something.
Can you use these dice for anything in the game, Rob?
So you can only use them when you're rolling dice for a Tzeentch unit, the keyword Tzeentch. And
so a Tzeentch sorcerer.
Yes.
I mean, hear your and.
I
hear your and. You were saying and.
Oh, okay. And here's what you can roll it for. You can use them for casting rolls, unbinding rolls, run rolls, charge rolls, hit rolls, wound rolls, save rolls, damage rolls, and battle shock tests.
Basically every roll in the game. Got it.
Every roll in the game with Tzeentch unit.
You can't use it for anything that like deflects a mortal wound, but
so you can't use it for like feel no pain. Okay.
Yeah, the little silly feel no pain.
And it said saving throws though, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is a ward save considered a saving throw?
Yeah, but not feel no pain.
No, ward save is not a saving throw. It's you get because a saving throw is manipulated.
It says you can cancel it says cancel a mortal wound. It's very specific to not include the save terminology.
It's a cancel. Yeah, it's not a word. Okay, no, that's still incredibly dynamic.
That's unbelievable.
I love it. And so and some people in the chat have mentioned that they feel like that the General's Handbook made AOS more fun to them than 40K. And I'm not going to, I had it. So in Haspel, I know, like we talk about this all the time. And so here's my experience. I've never played AOS and every single one of you guys has. But what I have done is I've edited every single battle report of AOS that we've ever done. So I have sat there and watched, studied, going back, gone forth, clipped, edit, every little thing, edit the audio, everything. And so I've been around now. I've done a lot of watching and listening, and I do like it. And I like how it's not bloated like 40K is right now. I, in my heart, know that if you drafted 40K to a system similar to AOS, with, replace replace toughness of wounds, because that's what they do in AOS. Your toughness value is basically your wound count. Things like that. Like you hit and you wound, this is the number, this is how many wounds you have, fucked up, and this is dumb. Things like that. I love every element of it and the lack of bloating, 100%. And then I also love that they've taken a chance on some cool fucking rules. Like some cool ass rules. This is just one example of cool ass rules, but there's dozens of them. Dozens of cool fucking rules that enhance the plot. Enhance the contract between you and me as we're playing this game.
Yeah, no, there's some unreal abilities that have, but there's also some broken stuff in Age of Sigmar. Just hadn't come out yet. So I've been doing a lot of talking with Lucas about he just picked up his new Lizardmen army. you know, and he's been going ham on it. And we're talking like he is so pumped right now. And, you know, as a lot of people know, he's a big space role player that has a huge squad army, looks beautiful, like gets into it, you know, but like right now he is fully engulfed to Age of Sigmar. And so we've been talking about this. Dude, literally one of the Slan mages has a special ability where
Lord Croak?
Yeah, Lord Croak, I think, is his special ability. So you roll 4 dice, right? You also have the ability to re-roll some of these at some point, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, you pick up 4 dice. At the beginning of every turn, you roll those 4 dice. Depending on what your results are, you know, you consult the chart. If 3 of your 4 dice are 6s, at the end of your turn, you have a complete whole nother turn before your player gets to go.
This is the Austin Demon Prince spawning.
Yes. I told him, I was like, literally, this is Demon Prince's spawning, what it used to do, you know, but now Age of Sigmar has like got these caveats. Like you can't just create, if there's something that says you create a unit for free, you know, or just right now, if you don't set points aside at the beginning of the game, then you can't generate models throughout a game for free because it's part of how summoning and stuff works. So
you gotta pay the points. You gotta
have the points aside, which I think is kind of crazy. But
but it's like a 2,000 point game is always a 2,000 point game. Then
that's true.
It's not like.
But you say that
points and then you summoned 500.
So you say that. How many points would you put on the random chance that you just get a whole nother turn?
Like all the points.
Yeah, but that's part of the whole thing, though.
That's got to be. I would rather have.
Well, I would just rather have bought the unit.
Yeah, I would have literally rather been like, yo, just here, give me a unit. You know, that's different. But you literally gave this cat, and I was like, Luke, that's actually not that hard to do. Pick up 4 dice and picked up. I was like, yo, I picked up the dice. I rolled it like 17 times. I got it twice. You know, I don't.
The odds are what 216 or whatever.
Yeah, like word. Never tell me the odds. I think a famous guy once said, right? So like, you just literally pick up the dice and do it. Like, you know, it's
Did
not.
you just make a Star Wars joke?
Yeah,
Haspel. So you, I know you played a bunch of AOS right at the beginning.
I did, and I was having a good time with it as long as we were playing the scenarios, which gave me, and it was a love-hate relationship. It gave me a bad feeling, and the only reason it gave me a bad feeling was because I was huge into the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. Like I had 7 or 8 armies, and that game was completely.
It was really good.
It was completely scenario based. Like until
but that was also activation based for everything too. Right?
Yeah, but until Legions of Middle Earth came out, you really had a really hard time like walking up and saying, "Hey, let's play a 1,500 point game." You really couldn't. You had to say, "Well, let's play this particular scenario," which was great, which was a lot of fun. But then you couldn't really. I mean, the game kind of fell down because of that. Because if you wanted to have, like, say, a tournament, you had to show up with, like, both a good army and an evil army because you didn't know who you were going to play.
That's true, yeah.
So then Legions of Middle Earth came out, and Legions of Middle Earth was essentially the general's handbook for Lord of the Rings. So when I started playing Age of Sigmar, I was like, I got a lot of vibes. Like Lord of the Rings had the whole initiative rolling thing at the beginning of the turns. There was a lot of stuff that Age of Sigmar had in common with it. And so I was like, oh no, like as much as I loved Lord of the Rings, no one's playing it right now. War of the Ring is one of the best rule sets they ever put out. Nobody plays it. And so I was just like, oh no. And then when I started playing more and more, it just felt like Army Men to me. Like, hey, just bring all your models, let's put them on the table and let's go pew 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 at each other. And I was like, my gaming time is limited. So I was just like, I'm not coming down to the game store to just roll dice and go pew pew pew. Like, let's play like a game. You know what I mean? So I dropped out of it. I actually sold all my Stormcast Eternals, which I regret now because I had a significant force. And then when the General's Handbook came out, I kind of picked it up in the store and started leafing through it. And then when I saw the price, because it was like $25 or something insane, and I went, "Oh my god,
good!"
Yeah, I just went, "Well, why am I looking at it? I'm just gonna buy it." You know?
Yeah, I was like, "It's a no-brainer."
It's a no-brainer. And I got home and reread it, and I'm like, I'm back in it. Like I immediately started going, I need to rebuild my Stormcast Eternals. I need to get right back in it. One quick thing though, it's like when you were talking about those Tzeentch rules, don't they have like a keyword Tzeentch to like it doesn't affect everybody? It just affects the guys.
I said that at some point, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, only Tzeentch models.
Yep, only keyword Tzeentch models.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear you, so I wanted to.
It happens. No problem. I might not. I'm from the South. I'll talk funny.
We do claim you now, Robbie. Yeah, I want you to know that.
Some people.
I'm sorry, Rob. I'm just really pumped to play this. Like, I actually want you. Like, maybe we can try to get up in the next week or two, and you and I throw a game down. With once we get some rules and everything else. Like, I would love to see, the Tzeentch on the table. Play against it, see what they do, see how the rules are, because I will say that since we've played, there's been, I would say like our level of play is like Age of Sigmar basic, like, playing the game on like easy to hard. Like, we're definitely in like just the recruit stage. We haven't found those broken combos, and like, it's actually like the peaceful time.
Yeah.
Before we get so serious and whatever else. So I would like to see what a powerhouse, what a comboed army, could kind of look like.
Well, I actually don't play Stormcast because they're brutal.
Oh, I know. I've done that once.
Oh, that's right, Johnny. I actually hamstrung myself playing Beast Claws. Now, I love when I saw the whole winter scheme of those guys. Like, I don't know what it was when they were just with the normal ogres. I was like, whatever, not interested. But then when they came out with like that whole winter scheme, it just really popped in my mind. I was like, yo, I want to play Beast Claws. And I painted up that army, but my army is only like 11 models. And I really I hamstrung the crap out of myself because part of Age of Sigmar is scoring shit. So, I was like, well, crap, I need to go back to the drawing board because I basically hamstrung myself, and I've come up with a strategy to where I'm going to take what used to be Beast Claw faction and I'm going to switch it over to straight Destruction faction and get some of the abilities from some of the other ogre stuff. But then I can also throw in the Aruks now and stuff. So I got a couple of ideas like where to go with that, because I still want to keep my fatties, but I want to add some more like cool, dope little like winter kind of they're kind of like my Khan's army. And just kind of make it really dope and really themey, because that's like my thing.
And for like the people who don't know what we're talking about, is like Age of Sigmar is really based not only just with objective, like how Warhammer is right now, where 40K is, where you have to be spread out on top of objectives. Like, literally in Age of Sigmar, it doesn't matter what unit you are, it doesn't matter whatever. You don't claim an objective unless you have 5 total models within X amount of inches of an objective. Now, they don't have to be all 5 from one unit. No. It can be like, one of your HQs and like 3 guys, and then one like big monstrosity, all kind of within the distance, so it can be whatever, but like, you have to have 5 cats.
Yeah. And when my cats are like 500 points a cat, like,
yeah, and wounds don't count. Like, it says you have to have 5 or more wounds near an objective. Like, you have to have 5 bases. So that really stops, because now look at this. And I mean, they made it simplistic, but at the same time, with just putting in a couple caveats, they really fixed the rule set from being just OP and broken. So, like, for example, I'm gonna put it in. I could do a big guy army for Skaven, right? I could rock 3 Stormbornmen, or 3 Vermin Lords, whether it's Venomous or the name guys, like anything else. I could have 3 big ass dudes, and take my minimal troop choices, and that's like 1,200 points.
Yep.
But guess how many games I'll actually win? 2 out of 5, because 3 of the 5 are going to be objective-based games, and if I don't have 5 dudes around, I can't even interact with this mission.
Yeah.
So they really did a good job on hamstringing that, just like how GW did back in the day with listing out, hey, 33% of your army could be this, 50% of the army that. Like, I really like that concept, and I never understood it. I was like, what are they thinking? I can literally just have all the big guys I want. I can literally have all the most powerful, OP, broken things. Like, what a bunch of idiots. And then you actually start playing a game. You play a theme game. You play, something with structure. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, it doesn't matter if I have every universal special rule. Like, the turns are just going by. I'm not going to be able to kill enough. And I lost to 100 clan rats.
Yeah, you're not lying about that, man.
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
The last time I played, I think I was playing Dark Elves, and he had like a 20 unit of crossbow guys or something like that. And it was just ate my lunch. I was just like, oh, this is horrible. And so I was like, well, I'll assault, and then he can't shoot me. Turns out that doesn't work, and he just
No, come to find out he can.
Bold move. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, it turns out that wasn't smart.
Good try though. E for effort. But yeah, no, it's gonna be a good book, and of course we'll a lot more will be unfolding. I'm gonna get the big chicken because I do have a whole bunch of demons already, so I pretty much have a Nurgle contingent for Age of Sigmar, and now I can kind of almost make a Tzeentch contingent if I don't need these bird people. So we'll see kind of how that goes. If I can make the demon side work, we might just see some battle reports on that here soon. But speaking of big guys, Juice, we were talking about Belisarius.
Belisarius.
So during the webcast tonight, I'm like, yo, you guys know that I can butcher a name. It doesn't matter if it's my own. I can butcher it, right? So I was like, is it like Carl, Curl?
Yeah, I feel like you guys need to call him Carl, like in The Walking Dead.
Carl, really, Carl? Really? So either way, in the show we're trying to find it. So his true name is Belisarius or something. So we're like, well, there's Bill. So obviously Bilbo Baggins is his name, and so that's where that came from throughout the show.
He always keeps it icy.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to come up with something fresh. So last week on the show, you guys were breaking it down, and man, like I was so sad that I missed it because, dude, there has been some mental explosions going on in my mind trying to figure out where his phenomenal ass finds his way into my army. Like, Kenny, you said it best earlier. It's like, you just look at him, look at all the stuff he does, the buffs that he does, the unkillableness he is, the every upgrade, the different set of mechanicals, the artifacts he unleashes for the rest of the army. He's obviously a plug and play. But once you start, like I phoned a friend, calling around these guys. I'm like, guys, look, tell me, am I crazy right now? I have got a tournament tested and proven list that, for the most part, I have thought of every scenario, within the scape of the game that I can kind of control. Does he belong in my work on list? So then we started breaking it down, pros and cons. What do you have to give up to get him?
And it's not just your list. A work on is pretty much the same bones, every list.
Yep, the basic, 950 points, without free war gear, you're basically at 900 to 1,300 points, right? Yeah, depending on how hard you go into the Vanguard or the Dragoons or, what Knight Titan you choose, you're at that, right? So the biggest variants are, like, for example, I take White Scars, take Marine to give me Hunter's Eye and Bolster Defenses and Hidden Run.
Which is a common buff. I have encountered multiple work on lists in my tournament days, and I've seen a Tech Priest with a fucking Hunter's Eye and 5 Scouts and 2 of them. And that is such a good
155 points. Work on gets objective secured, bolster ruins, hit and run, and ignore cover. Seems good for 155 points. And a dude with another 2-up save that's stubbornness for multi-wound. Yep. So and that's huge for, survivability. So then you're like, another element I can get rid of. Codius and my Xenos Inquisitor that's giving me rad grenades, which is stacking with my 10-man unit of Vanguard that had rad poisoning. So now in combat,
they're both called rad, but they're totally two different things. Two different
things.
So they both do a -1 toughness. And
so now in close combat, I can pair double negative toughness and electromancy or buff and strength. So now I'm pretty much IDing anything pretty easy. And that Xenos Inquisitor, that little dude, is giving me. I take the 15-point upgrade for the Liber Heresi, whatever, to give me counterattack, the potential for counterattack, the potential for scout. My all-time favorite, which is Splitfire. I mean, it's got just every universal special, and everybody. I don't even need to go in to know what Codius does for the army.
Yeah, Codius is the best 100 points in 40K right now.
Right.
He makes it into so many people's lists. I've seen a lot of demon players, if come the Apocalypse allies are legal, because you want to know what one of the easiest ways to play demons is you play Inquisitorial faction Codius, and then your demon army, and you say your primary detachment is Codius, and so now you don't have a warp storm, and you get all the buffs of Codius.
Wow.
So, I mean, like Codius has been a go. That's why a lot of big tournaments say no come the Apocalypse allies, because of things like Codius, what Codius can do. But for 100 points, so when you're saying, I built this list so that I can control every game as much as I can, and the things you're controlling are ignore cover is one of the biggest plot holes in 40K, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need, if you can ignore cover, you can interact with a lot of the toughest shit in the game right now. And so you're saying I have that. You're also saying I've hit and run on my top unit. And as we said, hit and run is one of the top plot holes in 40K right now too. Hit and run is probably the best special rule in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore cover is one of the best special rules in the game. So you have both of those with one fell swoop right there. That's two buffs, two powers that Belbo Baggins doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And additionally, you bring in Codius and break Codius down. Codius has you have to reroll seize the initiatives on me, and I get to reroll mine on you, which is very ridiculously clutch, because that means you could almost always say I'm never going to get seized on, because that's a big plot changer.
Yeah, 1 in 36 chance you're going to get seized on,
Happens,
and then he brings 2 psychic dice, and he can roll on divination. So, I'm fishing for, I'm automatically getting prescience.
Reroll mishits.
Yep.
On top of it, at minimum base, you're going to be able to reroll mishits. And we've been expecting you, which lets you control zones in the battlefield with a super unit like you have. And on top of all that, since you run a super heavy, a Lord of War, most tournaments use the escalation rule where you get +1 to the Cs, which can turn into +2 to Cs with a Warlord trait. So you're having to deal with people being able to go first on you all the time on a 5 or even a 4 if they get the right Warlord trait now.
Yeah, so it's even before, it's like, there really is not a chance of them really seizing on you anyway. Who does it matter? Like, what does it matter? Like, nah, man. Like, now all of a sudden you're saying somebody needs a 4, somebody needs a 5. Like, yeah, I want them to reroll that, So it's like, okay, so now we know all the good stuff, right? And then obviously the Dominus, that's another element that I could try to get rid of, right? But the Dominus himself is an absolute juggernaut. He's literally, his nickname is Stonewall Jackson in my army. Like, he's only toughness 4, but he's got multiple wounds, 2 up save, 4 up invulnerable, 5 up feel no pain, and he, with lookout sirs and everything else, with how I do it, he literally is like, as good of a unit as it comes, for me. So he also is giving me one of the artifacts that he takes, or relics, is I can, it's cognitive. So I basically, anytime that I'm called upon to Snapfire, I Snapfire Bliss skill 2 instead of 1. Okay. So how huge that is because the unit that he's usually joining is my Vanguard unit that has all this ridiculous 9 plasma shots, all these other shots, everything else, right? That ignore cover, that have preferred enemy, that depending on what canonical I have up there, it's twin linked,
or prescience, it's always
or prescienced, so you're saying like flyers, whatever. I know I need 5s to hit you, but guess what? I need 5s reroll, and then I get to
9 shots with hitting out 5s with rerolls, ignore cover is a problem for most flyers.
Yeah. So it's like the army is so well, and so like lastly, before we talk about him, is like, so when people say, and I've said it over and over, but when you want to talk about like special armies that have free shit, right? Obviously, Warcon is at the top of the list, but this free shit is 500 to 600 points, 600 on a high end. You're probably using about 500 points worth of free shit, right? But if you do not have the brain capacity to remember each turn that free shit in a single game, you might only actually get about 120 to 180 points of free stuff because that's what you remember.
Yeah, it's different than the Gladius in the fact that the Gladius gives you 400 points and free rhinos. No matter how the game goes, you use those rhinos.
It doesn't matter. It is in your face. It is your universal special rule of everything is scoring, no matter what it is, blah, blah, blah. It is impossible to forget that. That is a number. Eldar, the built-in free rending, the infinity move, shoot, move.
Objective secure, bikes.
Objective secure, like all that is, it's built in. You don't forget that. You're talking WarCon. I have to physically remember, oh yeah, that guy, his 90 points of free war gear, which means nothing, literally is a relic that if I use it under this single circumstance, I can pop off something and do a whole point. And you do that under so many scenarios. So now we have decided there's no weak links in WarCon, because when you need to drop points, it's not just shaving war gear where a lot of armies do. You cut the fat. That's what we call it. Here, I literally have to drop whole acting units. So we all know how big and badass this guy is, right? So all of a sudden, if he is now my warlord, so I can get that reroll feel no pain, which is super selfish of him that wants that, right? That's not really good for the entire army. I lose because my warlord is my alpha for my WarCon, just my little 15-point alpha. His special ability, period, off gates, gives me that feel no pain if he's the warlord. That's not his warlord trait. That literally is just a buff he gives. Then I get a roll on the warlord trait. So off tops, what I'm losing, once I find the points, if he is my warlord to get that reroll feel no pain, I lose preferred enemy and a warlord trait, which is huge.
Yeah. Stealth
ruins, pluses to my reserve, or pluses for me to seize the initiative, minuses for my opponent. I love, for the love, let me give infiltrate.
Yeah, infiltrate
3 units plus that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So either way. So obviously that is one major negative. And the list goes on. Do I trade, Codiez and the Xenos Inquisitor to pick up a list of canicles that include a 4-up invulnerable save, some strength 10, AP1 melt-a-gun shooting? Him is the ultimate Stonewall Jackson. Even without his feel no pain, like let's say I went down the path of bringing him in the army and not making him my warlord, which is an option.
I think that it's in his rules he has to be the warlord.
Oh, that actually, Robbie B, or does anybody have that?
For Belisarius?
Yeah. Yeah. Does he?
I think it says he has to be the warlord. So you don't even.
No, he doesn't have to be. If he.
Well, fact check me.
No, I'm looking
at his data sheet.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it for you.
I mean, he gets the warlord trait where he can reroll his feel no pains if he's the warlord.
Okay, so you could take him not as the warlord.
Yeah, so there's the option, right? So there's the option to keep the alpha and pick him up. Now, Kenny, you and I have spoke and did the math when this guy, how it was like, what is it, like 10 or 20 strength 10 attacks he can soak up before dying? Like, do you remember the math with a 5-up invulnerable, 5-up feel no pain with a rerollable 5?
On triple 5s, you're only losing a wound about 1 in 6 wounds.
Okay, so literally it takes 24.
If he has 5 wounds
on the 24th strength 10 AP2 attack.
Yeah, he'll die.
He'll die. Okay, got it.
If he can do that in one phase, like.
Yeah. So
it brings D3 back. I mean, he is a Stonewall, but he's gonna die to a lot of Death Stars. But what you determine with your Inquisition element, because you'd have to sacrifice them, be real about it.
Yeah.
Your Inquisition element actually helps you fight Death Stars.
Absolutely, because that's where I get my second rad from. So
it doesn't matter if you have nobody left in your army, if you didn't do any damage. Who cares if you exit yourself from the combat or whatever? You have this one guy who takes more wounds than the rest of them. There's always some guy in a fucking Death Star who's got fucking instant death, who's like, I challenge you. And then Belisarius like, no, I'm not going to accept the challenge. You sit in the back. You can't. You literally last got to take a wound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody else is dead. So yeah, so it's like, again, now I can go down the path of how good he is. You know, we did an in-depth kind of breakdown, very in-depth breakdown on the webcast. You know, we don't have to go as far tonight and do that on the podcast tonight, but you know, I did a very in-depth like reverse of like, okay, he does unlock relics for my sergeants and guys to get, so where I could get Monster Hunter, Tank Hunter, Skyfire, like the old school, or like a buff commander. He literally makes one of my guys into a buff commander. He also gives the canticles that we talked about, not even just the invulnerable save, which is really good for him and the 15 guys he's with, but literally now that he's standing next to my Night Titan, I literally have a psychic ability that I would cast can't even remember the psychic ability name, where you give something a 4 invulnerable save, but now literally for free, my Night Titan has 4 invuln everywhere.
Yeah, forewarning.
Forewarning, yeah. You know, so it's like, you know, he can do.
He's an augmenter, but I think the moral of the story is if you've already been in your beats lab, you've already got your army looking sick, you're already ready for the tournament season, you're already ready to go in there and smash face. There's no substitute for practice and thought.
Absolutely.
Like 99% of this game is in our mind before we even go to the tournament. You're doing yourself a disservice if you just say, this is an army I have faith in, and then you swap out for him because the internet tells you he's what you should swap out for.
He's got some cool rules. He's got like 15 universal special rules. Look at, if I drop Codiez and my Xenos Inquisitor, I lose 15
if I was going to swap anybody out in that army for anybody new, it'd be for the fucking new chick that fucking has the you can't fucking infiltrate rule.
Yeah.
We call that the you can't see me.
You can't see me John Cena rule.
Yes.
Like, because that, to me, that would be more baller because the Gene Stealer cult, they don't get first
now,
turn
real
shot.
quick, Gene, does that affect, now, did we decide, like, do servo skulls and that special ability affect what the Gene Stealer cult do?
Yeah, for sure. Only on their first turn because when they leave,
Because
when
they're
they go
using
cult,
the infiltrate the peer
it
initially
literally says you're infiltrating.
to set them up.
You set them up. And later, when you leave the table and going to call ambush, you're doing something else.
Different, yeah.
But it literally says this is infiltration. So if it says you can't infiltrate and it says this is infiltration, you can't. I mean, that's what I'm saying is GW just put out an army that is going to go to LVL and be in the top 8 that people aren't ready for. That's 120 Gene Stealers and half of them charging in the first turn.
Yeah.
And they're saying we're not playing the new rules at LVL, but after LVL, the existence of this girl is now instantaneously
in everywhere.
undone.
Yeah, I want you. That's a great call, Kenny. I've been saying this for a while. Like literally, Gene Stealer Cult is going to win any event that it goes to. Like if you put down that many models and all you got to do is roll out of your 30 units. All you got to do is roll like 4 or 5 6s, and the game is over. You actually don't have to put your models on the table. Like it's that bad, you know, like, but to caveat what you were saying in the beginning is like, don't like get basically distracted by the shiny new toy, right? Like I made a personal goal and statement to myself at ATC last year that like, yo man, I'm playing Warcon. I fell in love with this army. This is so much fun. It is very strenuous on the brain, which I like. I'm playing it. I'm going to get it. I'm putting it together. I'm painting it, you know, literally Warcon is my shit. Guess what GW does to me? They mess with my emotions internally, externally. They drop a NID codex that's Gene Stealer Cole that I get everything I've always wanted. I have literally I pulled my chip out of my brain. I pulled it out. I pulled it out with a spoon, you know, and I was like, I'm not doing it. I am not switching. I told myself I was going to do this. You know, I'm staying true. I'm going to learn. Practice is so much more than everything else. You know, I'm on it. This is how the 40K bandwagon starts. It's like this comes out. Then 5 Hilldrakes come out. Then Tau with a billion broadsides come out. And you know, and nobody knows their army truly. Tournaments take longer, everything else. So, you know, don't just always get distracted. Don't just let the internet tell you, hey, it's out. It's got to be good. You got to play it no matter what.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually think, Kenny, I think you described in the podcast, now you said it, and I loved it, the webcast, the Bilbo Baggins literally is a Tau buff commander, right? He's more of an easy button win.
Yeah, he's definitely he's the easy button buffs. He fits right in very nicely. You can see very obviously what he does. He's very difficult to deal with. He's got great stats. It's a very easy answer, and it could be an answer. But what you've done is you've spent time in the Beats Lab, and you've made your own answers. You wrote your own equation for victory, and so don't undo that. Like, because if you put them in your army right now, you've basically just taken back the 50 playtest games you played, because it's going to change fundamentally how you play. But where he does fit in, as we talked about, if you go to a 2-source environment like Adepticon, you've already pretty much said, "Yep, I'll take him there."
Yep, good to go. He's in the list. Telling me I have to choose between Cody as a Xenos Inquisitor or my White Scars with Ignore Cover. Got it. White Scars Tech Marine it is.
Turns out the 2 best special rules in 40K are Ignore Cover and Hit and Run, and my Tech Marine gives me both of those.
Check mark to that. Bilbo Baggins, here we come.
Yep. But that's a good talk. How we doing on time?
We're about an hour and 15 minutes.
All right. Do we have anything else?
I'll have some stuff on the Tzeentch next week for sure, and I'm sure we'll see more teasers rather, maybe even more on the Gathering Storm Part 2.
Well, guys, this is basically the countdown to LVO now. What are we? Roughly 3 weeks out. Is that right? 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
So we're roughly 2 weeks out from LVO. Haspel and myself will be there for sure, and we'll keep bringing this up for the next. Looks like we're gonna be. All of us should be on the podcast all the way through. So so we'll talk about it more as we go. If you're going to LVO, definitely hit us up on Facebook and let us know, so that we can all hang out and do some kind of meet and greet together, get iced.
Haspel, take us out.
Oh, come on, guys. It's so simple. Maybe you need a refresher course. It's all ball bearings nowadays. Now you prepare that Fetzer valve with some 3-in-1 oil and some gauze pads, and I'm going to need about 10 quarts of antifreeze, preferably Prestone. No. Bake that Quaker state.